So I'm going to introduce you guys. We were waiting for Taylor, but Taylor perhaps is busy and is not able to join in. So I will introduce Meredith first because she came in first. She joined at 6:50. She joined at okay 6:50 my time, 6:50 p.m. my
Yeah.
time.
8:50 my time.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Uh, Meredith, thank you so much for joining in. You have a great career. You are working in Dallas with a company called Harry Mary. You're in the business of flip-flop footwear and apparel brand. So you are very flexible and you are a graphic designer. You have a strong concept of art and you love to design and print. Your key interest is in digital marketing and branding, and you guys donate 1% of your sales to cancer patients kids. That's fantastic. Meredith, you guys are doing great job. Thank you so much for coming over to this panel and spending your time here and guiding people from your experiences. Thank you so much.
Of
Uh,
course. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Jenifer is a founder of the Bra Lab. The Bra Lab offers chic solutions for complex wardrobe challenges. She designs comfortable and multi-wear bras, and she is from the background of risk management, financial modeling. In the past, she was working with Morgan Stanley in the bank, and she left her cushy job to start her own venture to make women more comfortable in what they wear. Thank you so much. That's a noble cause, Jenifer. Thank you very much for coming over. Looking
Thank you.
forward to hear from you. David, who just called himself that he has been living in isolation for years now. David is a denim guy. He makes denim in the UK. He has a very passionate and very nice mission. He lives in a town where there was a big denim factory which got shut, and 400 families lost their job. And he is building a factory in the same area for denim to get the jobs back for all those 400 families. David is a excellent public speaker. He is a very sought after public speaker. He has been to Apple, Red Bull, Facebook, Google, a lot of other places to speak in their events. David keen interest is in social media, creative direction, and branding. David, thank you so much. Thank you very much. I'm going to put this aside
Sure.
now. And thank you so much for coming over. All three of you are fabulous people doing fabulous work for the country, for your countries, and for your people. I'm so excited to talk to you all. My first question goes to David. Uh, David, there are so many people living in this town where you're living, right? Why did you take the responsibility of giving these people their jobs back? Why you?
Um, well, to be honest, I didn't actually want to do it. So that was my first thing. So it wasn't like I thought about doing it and I thought, oh, that's really hard. And so I built, well, everything when I say I is with my wife, and she's much like brighter than me. So, I mean, so we built a company from like our, sort of living room floor. We had lots of people wanting to buy it, Japanese richest guy, people who own Gucci, Yves Saint Laurent, and Puma, and Steve Case, who started AOL and was investing at the time. But we ended up doing a deal with Timberland, and we sold our company. And so, and then we decided actually we really quite liked our independence, maybe more than we thought. And so we kind of left the company we started, and then we had a year where we weren't allowed to do anything. But in that time, you got to think this is a really small town. I mean, it's got more sheep than people. It's like super small, but it just happened to have Britain's biggest jeans factory. I mean, even I can't work out why. And I've done a lot of research and I have no clue. I have no idea why it's there. But so you had 400 world-class makers, and then all of a sudden, the factory closed. And then so you had 400 world-class makers with nothing to make. And so so I left Howie's. I didn't really want to work with Timberland. Nothing against Timberland. It's just I really love independence. And I did a business plan about getting the town back, making jeans again, and I just thought actually that's really hard. Actually, doing a factory is really hard. And I just went, oh, and I wrote it. I parked it. I went running for a year, and then I came back and somebody said, why aren't you doing the plan? And I said, well, I don't want to run around the same track twice. And he said, it's actually not about you. It's about the town. Now, are you going to get out of your own ego and actually do something for the town? So, and they know how to make jeans, and I know how to build brands. So I'm going, okay. When they said, oh, it wasn't really about me and doing that thing, and it was really about the town, that's when I got really interested.
Cool, interesting. Very nice story. I think it clearly resonates with your passion. Thank you so much, David, for coming over. Meredith, tell us something about your business. How has it been in the last 6 months, and what's the forecast?
Yeah, so Harimari, we make flip-flops mostly, especially during the summer. We are known for our great, comfortable flip-flops. And before 2020, we had relied really heavily on our retail business. And we were really excited before COVID hit, before the global pandemic, we were excited to put significantly more effort behind our own e-commerce. We love the fact that we're able to communicate directly with our customers, to learn from them, learn what they want, have that deeper relationship with them. And so right at the beginning of March, when everything hit, I actually stepped more into the marketing side of our business, away from just the design side and more into, hey, how do we really tell our brand to these people and bring them to our website where we can communicate more about our brand than we can just at a retail shelf. That worked out pretty well as retail stores then closed, which was the hardest part about the past couple months for us, was that we had already shipped all of our product for the summer. All of our stores were geared up and ready to sell, and we had to pivot. And like I said, luckily we were prepared to do so without having seen any of this coming. We kind of had some plans in place that made that a fairly easy shift. And luckily we were a relevant product. People still need to wear shoes even around their house, walking their dog, even if their explorations go to just their backyard as opposed to across the globe or across the country. People were still interested in our product. And so the past 6 months have actually been really exciting around here as we have gotten to connect more directly with our customers, really lean heavily into e-commerce and grow that relationship in a way that was expedited through this pandemic. In a much more exciting way than we could have even planned for ourselves. So while certainly we saw hits and were disappointed with how that affected our retailers, and are constantly trying to ensure that the effects of that aren't permanent for them, we've really enjoyed getting to know our customers better on a personal level and selling directly to them.
Excellent, wonderful. That's a great pivot. It was very important to pivot from offline to online. What platform do you use, Meredith?
We're on Shopify Plus.
Shopify Plus, all right. So have you always been on Shopify Plus?
We have always been Shopify. I think we've been Shopify Plus for the past 2 years.
2 years, all right.
Because I'm interested in Shopify because they came over and did a film on us. I'm really grateful that they spent a couple $100,000 making a film on us. And we make jeans for the founder, and we're on Shopify. And I can't quite work out if Shopify Plus is actually better. I know it's more expensive. I just can't work it out.
I actually wasn't a part of deciding whether we should shift to that or not. I inherited that side of things. But I do believe for us, it has helped with some customization in the checkout process. That's been the place that I have noticed the most value. That said, I didn't experience what it was like beforehand. So I may not be the best person to ask.
Yeah.
But we have enjoyed it for sure.
Interesting.
I don't think that it's necessarily better either. We haven't switched. We were just on the basic.
So you are as well, Jenifer?
Pardon me?
You are on Shopify as well?
Yes, we are. Yeah. But a lot of the features can be built out and then you don't, it's like a one-time fee and then you don't really need the plus, but that's just what I heard. We haven't switched because I don't want to pay that much for
Yeah.
So,
I'm curious. I don't know.
Jenifer, coming to you, you had a very cushy job in a bank, Morgan Stanley.
Yeah.
Why would you leave that job, and what's your why? Why the bra business?
I come from a family of entrepreneurs, kind of like, so after Morgan Stanley, I actually lived abroad for a little bit, did some work at the UN in the environment program, which is kind of cool. It kind of opened my eyes a little bit. So then my sister was working in the fashion industry, but she owned 2 clothing stores. And she roped me in, actually. I didn't want to do this at all either, like, cause it's really hard and it's not fun yet, but it is getting fun now, but it's just very, very challenging. So she noticed that people just did not have the right bras to wear with their outfits. And then we had some friends that were working for Nordstrom and they were the buyers. They were saying, we don't buy these clothes because nobody has a bra. There's no bra. So we saw this little need in the market for a new design to totally change the design of bras, which, okay, nobody wants to manufacture the change. Everyone just wants to do it the same way. So, and everything's made in China, all the components. So we had to deal with all that. But anyways, getting back to the story, sorry. So we just started hacking up our bras from our house, like basically with scissors. Our grandma was a tailor from Italy. So we kind of knew a little bit, not as good as her, but so we started hacking up our bras and we decided to move the whole back part to the sides to have like a clean finish, because a lot of the issues were with that clasp, like ruining people's look. But then moving that to the side opened up like way more like features than we ever thought. We didn't even know, like the whole sizing aspect. You can combine the front and the back and get a more fine-tuned fit, and we can cover way more sizes without carrying all these individual SKUs. Like to get 80 sizes, you normally have to carry each 80 individual items. With ours, you have like 12 front parts and then like 5 backs, and you can get 80 sizes. So that and you also have all these odd sizes that we can fit as well, that normally people don't want to carry because they'll be stuck with them. So that opened up all this whole sizing thing. And then just the whole, like, we can make the back straps in cool fabrics, like all different kinds of fabrics. So if you want like a clear one, a black one, and you can just swap it out without paying like $70 every single time for a new like single use bra, which is like also like goes to the sustainability part, where a lot of times the straps wear out and then you have to buy a whole new one, and then you throw it away. So it's like you can just keep the parts and then just swap out these little, like this is one of them. You can just get new elastic backs and straps when it starts wearing out. So yeah, and they're like $14 instead of $70. So that whole part of like sustainability, which was very important for me to bring that in, kind of, we were like, wow, actually this does this. And then we kept finding out all these things that it did. And then we got patents on it and stuff like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's been pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So I'm enjoying it, but it's not easy because nobody wants to work with a new, they're like, wait, no, we cannot cut it on the sides. Like they just can't do anything outside the box, but you can't make them. We could not find small factories to make them in because all the components, there's so many components with bras. It's not like clothing, and they're all come from China. But now we are aligned with the biggest factory in the world for lingerie. And they're actually like, their factories are like zero waste, like all this solar panel, like no toxins. They're all in Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka, okay.
They're all in Sri Lanka, and it's like been amazing to align with them. But we had a little gap of production because we were switching from China to them. So that happened this year, which was kind of good timing because the COVID hit right when we ran out of stock.
Oh, really?
Out, and we're like, okay, COVID, we'll just play. It worked out. So, but we're back on track, and we're now ready to scale up production. We're doing a sort of a venture with them where they're letting us produce whatever we want without coming up with
I think
capital.
if you can win over the factory, if you get to the factory owner and literally just kind of tell them, like, buying chocolates, anything, literally, if they, because they're doing it because they suddenly go, oh my, this could be the next big brand.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
So you got to convince them of that, and then they'll cut you slack then.
That's the only reason why they're working with us.
Yeah.
I mean, we're like a tiny,
Yeah.
nobody, but they liked our design and it was different. And yeah, they thought, wow, this could be the next thing.
Yes.
But it's good because we don't need venture capital money.
Brilliant.
So we're self-funded, but you can't do that unless you have the factory doing this deal with us or venture capital.
You absolutely need that relationship.
Yeah, it's crazy the cost just to make one style. And then everyone's like, why don't we have this color or this or more cups, more, and we're like, we can't. And it's just been super challenging to manufacture. And there's one little issue or this or that, and then it's just hard. It's just really hard.
Yeah. But
sounds like a brilliant design to me.
Separates you from everyone else.
With that?
If you do hard things, that separates you from everyone else.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely not easy. Then we have to educate people when we're marketing it too. Like, they're like, what? And the sizing's different. And so we struggle with marketing, and then just the whole, like, not having all the styles yet because we're too small to produce what all these bigger companies, everyone's used to all this, like, ship it to me in a day. I want every shade of nude. I want 20 cups. They don't understand, like, this whole, like,
you said, Jenifer, you said that you are enjoying it, but it is challenging.
now,
So we understood what is challenging. So what are you enjoying?
no, I think it's fun to, like, invent something, change an industry, and then you hear the feedback and people are obsessed and love it. But then you have all these challenges of producing it and, like, getting the fit right or pleasing everybody all the time. So that's the hard part. People are pretty picky and they're pretty fast.
Oh yeah.
You mentioned something really interesting too, is telling that story, because you just told that story very well. I'm totally hooked. I know what I'm buying as soon as we get off this call. If you ever need someone to test anything, let me know. But like you said, that's a totally huge change for women to understand how it functions when we're so used to something else. And so that's a really long story to tell in the 1 second that you have in an ad. So yeah, it sounds like you guys have your work cut out for you, but also are crushing it.
Thanks. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, bras are not the easiest thing to sell.
Yeah,
I'd rather sell shoes.
Yeah, it's just storytelling, and you got to find a simple way to tell that story. But you work it out. So.
Right. Yeah. We're ready to. We're revamping our website, like, kind of redoing the story part right now, because it's kind of, not there yet. But we'll be changing that in a couple months. We'll be coming up with a new website. Yeah. So,
David, thank you so much, Jenifer. Thank you very much. It's a very great story. I think we're gonna pull this out story for like 5-minute video, and we're gonna post on different channels. You have your story ready made. We are recording this, so we give it to you as well, and you can post on various channels. I'm sure people like it. You already have a customer, Meredith, here. David, when you go to Apple and Facebook and Red Bull and Google, what do you advise them? What do you talk there?
Well, I mean, it's kind of odd going to Red Bull and talk about marketing, because they're kind of maybe one of the best in the world, and and at the time they just put somebody up on outer space and let them dive back into planet Earth, and it was kind of, so I didn't really talk about like how to be good at marketing. I just talked to them about like how you like create a culture with your team, and what we'd done, and the importance of storytelling. So I definitely don't tell them what to do. So I think that would be kind of interesting. But I just I'm there going, but they like, people love stories, right? So I mean, and I'm going, look, here's some things I've learned. Here's some mistakes I made. They love mistakes, and then I'm going, and I'm happy to talk about them. and it's fine. Do you mean? So it's kind of like, but they're all human beings. I mean, they just happen to work for amazing companies, and that's fine. But it's more just the experiences that we've had, and the learning that those experiences has enabled us to then go into the next level. So I think, in those environments, you can't be that entrepreneurial. But in our, things that we do, if we're not entrepreneurial, we ain't going to see next week. And so they love that spirit, because it's, in a way, they would love to do what we're doing, but we would love the paycheck they get each month. So we just need to flip those two things.
So that's a great thing to know. David, what are the two business mistakes you did, and what were the learnings?
Well, I mean,
the e-commerce,
quite a few. So I mean, I think the one mistake I made, which I learned from, was when we were doing Howie's. Like, we were really doing very interesting things, and I love Patagonia as a brand, but they were literally following everything we were doing. Their scrapbook or their footprint chronicles came from us in terms of what we were doing. Our website, we did a website. They followed it, and and we have good relationships with them. It wasn't, we were swapping T-shirt cuts and all sorts. So the one learning was actually, we sold our company when the project was only half done. So when we did this one, I phoned up Yvonne Chenard at Patagonia, and I'm going, hey, Yvonne, because we nearly did something with them, but it wasn't the right time. But I said, like, how did you keep hold of your company? And he sort of thought about it, and in his dry way, he's going, well, 40 years hard work. And I went, I knew it. And then he said, oh, and 2 remortgages. And I'm going, I knew that too. And I guess what he's really saying is, like, actually there is no shortcut. And especially if you don't want fast money, you have to have patience. And so my learning from that was going, well, okay, don't take fast money, and take that learning and be patient with this thing, and let it grow slowly. And it's okay if it grows slowly. And so that's 2 bits of learning, really. Like, don't sell something that you really love. If you've fallen out of love with it, get rid of it. But if you enjoy it, enjoy the ride. It's kind of your ride. And I mean, and there's no amount of money that will give you the fulfillment of doing that every day.
Excellent, wonderful. So the learning from David is this: do not sell your business half-baked, half-cooked. Don't be in a rush to make a lot of money in less time. Try to enjoy what you're doing. Don't just build something for selling it. We don't make babies to sell them. So our company
exactly. And it's that thing of this venture capital thing that I see a lot of young entrepreneurs. They go and get the VC money, and you look at them and you go, "Are you enjoying this?" And I can see from their eyes, they're literally not enjoying it at all, because they missed a set of numbers. And you go, right, if you look at an acorn, who judges an acorn in the first month? Who actually judges an acorn in the first 10 years? You go, it takes time to build something. And there will be ebbs and flows, and but I would love a patent. Like, you've got a patent. That's insane. Yeah. I mean, like, that's amazing. And you should have done a pivot, and a lot of people couldn't pivot because they weren't agile enough. And you go, that's the beauty of it. You've got to enjoy the ride, because it's the only ride you got.
Yeah.
I think that speaks to what you were saying earlier too, about the smaller you are, the more nimble you can be. So if it grows too quickly, you get stuck in a decision you made 10 years ago or 2 years ago or whatever it was, and that's the only path you can stay down. And what happens if the world changes? What happens if everybody stays at home and you've designed something that's outdoors?
Yeah.
You're stuck, or you sell it.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of think of growth like chocolate. Everybody craves it. But then when you've had too much, you go, oh, it's like, oh, I've had too much. And I think we've got to be careful what we wish for. You go, maybe it's okay to build something to, what if the pattern of your future was really about the growth of the team or your influence in this world, or like having a patent, changing how women wear bras. That's pretty insane. I mean, you just go, that's like incredible. So you go, oh, I'm going to change the industry, and at some point somebody's going to copy you, and you're going to, even though you've got a patent, they're going to challenge you. And I know that from experience, because back in the day, I was asked to do a brand book for a guy called James Dyson, who started this company that made cleaners, and Hoover copied his design, even though he had a patent.
We're afraid of that.
Literally copied it, everything. I mean, apart from the name, they changed the name. And so, that challenge will come, because they go, oh, I've got more money than you.
Yeah.
And therefore, I'm going to copy you and see you in court, because your money is going to run out for mine is.
Oh,
And they're like that. They're little shit.
they will.
But you're too strong for them. Because the truth will always be right.
That's why we're trying to build something bigger now. Yeah, build a brand, tell our story so that people align with us, and then have a wider range of products that go with this interchangeable concept.
Yeah.
So that people come back to us. But I mean, we've seen like this vice president of Calvin Klein called us and was like, oh, I love your design. And she was trying to get us to work for her in New York, and we're like, nah. And then these venture capitalists have been trying to.
No, don't do it, honestly.
As soon as you take that money, you're on a sales call every Friday, and if you don't do, and they don't understand it, and they don't, and I just don't want to. It's not worth. It's not worth it.
I can guarantee you, the thing that will probably drive you and motivate you is you have independence, and you have the independence. And the thing that you're doing now is hard.
Yes.
But you can get to make the decision. So you don't have to go to a board and go, hey, I'm thinking about this. You go, no, it's a terrible idea. You go, I think it's a great idea. No, it's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
And that conversation is literally a rites of passage for an entrepreneur. You go, the people with the money win. And you go, oh, it doesn't change anything by taking this 25%. Oh, it changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go, oh, it's not my company anymore. And then you walk out. It's a rites of passage.
Mm-hmm.
If you let the money in, you'll be going out at some point. It's just a question of when.
Or like if I would have taken the money, I wouldn't have gone to the manufacturer and made that deal with them, because I would have. And then not taking the money makes you creative, and you make it work anyways.
Yeah, completely.
It comes out better.
Completely.
Excellent. Those are some great learnings from both Jenifer and David. Guys, what they're saying is this. There are pros and cons of taking somebody else's money. If you're taking somebody's money, an investor's money, you've got to make sure that he's a passive investor, or your visions are aligned. He or she, the investor, will not interfere with you, will let you run your company the way you want to run your company. You can't just take anybody's money. You've got to take the good money, not the bad money. And also one more thing I learned is that, so David just said, the guy who has the money wins. Now, that's also a very important statement. I've learned so I also have a couple of companies, and I've learned that you don't make money by running businesses. You make money by selling businesses. So you build your businesses until the point when they're sellable. When you can sell perhaps the entire business to somebody for, let's say, 2 for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, just keep building it without taking anybody's money, and be independent and take the right decisions and follow your gut, follow your passion. And just in one go, if you want to, let's say I'm done, you can sell the entire company to somebody for a huge price, instead of having seed investment, series A, B, C, D, and then you actually become the employee of the investor, and which was ideally against. So you started a company because you did not want to report to anybody. And then the moment you take somebody's money, the purpose of starting a company is defeated. That's the learning from Jenifer and David. I hope I summarized you guys properly. Now, Meredith has been listening very, very patiently and very, very calmly. Are you guys funded, Meredith?
Yeah, we have a couple investors, but we have great relationships with them, and they actually have really helped us formulate our brand and help us see some great places we can expand. So yeah, we're lucky that right now we are really blessed by our investors that we get to partner with.
Do you have an option to say otherwise?
Yeah.
I do.
But, I mean,
of course.
The thing I'd like to just to caveat on that is, I'm really talking about like venture capital money. I'm talking about private equity money, because the way I look at that, and there are some elite people out there who are in the very, very elite of those people, and you should work with those because they're in the elite, but they're very few. And so you know, the bucket that I'm talking about is fast money that only wants to go and build something for 3 years and then flip it. You need to avoid that like a plague. Which you know, it's you know, that's the money you got to find. If you're going to find money, you have to find the slowest money that you absolutely can. And you know, like there's before he started, he came down to our house and stayed with us for dinner, and he started a cycling company called Rafa, and he recently sold it for $140 million. And so but he found some really slow money, and for 10 years they didn't make any money. They built the brand, but you know, finding slow money is hard because there's an awful lot of fast money, and that's what most people find, and that's when they're reporting the figures and they're missing targets and they're on this treadmill and it's horrendous.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
David is suggesting you should avoid fast money, avoid private equity money, go for venture capitalists and the elite investors who will let you work, who understand business, who will help you in your vision, who will not be a hurdle, who will not block your paths. I think Meredith has been very lucky to have such people on board. Meredith, also tell us, why should somebody not go for investment?
I mean, I think exactly what David was just talking about is that it just has to be the right fit on both sides. And that requires honesty from both sides. That requires vulnerability, transparency, everything, to put all the chips on the table and say, this is what we're looking at. This is where we want to go. If we're not completely aligned on both, then the only person you can bet on is yourself. If you're the one in the business and you know your plan, then it's not worth lying about that to someone else or changing that for someone else. I mean, it's like dating. You know, you can make dating work for a couple months, but if you're planning to marry the person, you got to be really comfortable and have everything out in the open so that you can, you know, cancel early on.
Not dating is like marrying.
Say that again.
I'm saying getting an investor is not like dating, it is like marrying somebody, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Excellent. So, Meredith, do you also sell on Amazon and other marketplaces?
You know, we actually started with Amazon this year. And I say that we really haven't gone full-fledged into Amazon. We have more just tried to experiment with it and really see how it fits best with our business. What we love is our headquarters here handles all of our fulfillment. It is our full-on retail store. It's where all of our offices are. And we love having everything close to home because, like I mentioned earlier, being nimble is key. And understanding how everything is working together really helps us move in one direction. And Amazon has been really helpful, but we also are wary of losing our own, that e-commerce experience that I'd mentioned earlier. We can tell our story the best straight from ourselves. But if we have to go through Amazon, that proposes a couple challenges. Not that it's impossible. You can absolutely still have a really strong brand presence there. But what goes into making that happen is just a little bit different than the full control you have on your own website, all of the different levers we can pull within Shopify. So we have dabbled in Amazon and enjoyed the experience for sure, but are really looking for ways to complete that strategy to make best use of it in the coming years.
Excellent. That's a great piece of advice, Meredith. Are you also making Zuckerberg richer than what he already is?
We do advertise. We do advertise on Facebook, and that too has seen a little bit of a change this summer. What we really do love is that we can tell a bit of a fuller story in some Facebook advertisements than we can say in a banner on a web page. But it's ever changing, you know, as prices change for those advertisements, as the audience changes, as the content of Facebook and those social platforms changes. We're constantly rethinking our strategy. Obviously, this summer saw a lot of switches on those platforms in terms of what people were consuming in terms of content, what they wanted to see, what they didn't want to see, what they were expecting to see from brands, and what some people really didn't want to see from brands. And we're constantly trying to keep a pulse on that and really make sure that we are being true to ourselves and true to who we've told the customer we are, so that we can build that honest, genuine relationship. Because yes, we want people to buy our flip-flops, but more so, we want them to trust us, so that if we come out with a jacket, they trust Harimari makes great jackets because I know they make great shoes. And if you're just trying to sell the next product, that trust level isn't necessarily there. You're just feeding the consumer wheel.
Wonderful. How many SKUs do you carry, Meredith?
We have a couple hundred SKUs. So we have about 15 styles for men and women, and then we have some gear as well. And we're about to launch our boots and runners for winter that we're really, really excited about. We've historically been very seasonal with flip-flops, right? While it's always hot in Texas, not everywhere around the globe wears flip-flops year-round. And so we've in the past 2 years almost doubled our SKUs by branching into cold weather months, which was something that we'd planned on doing for really the last 8 years that we've been around, but it just took longer. We are diehard comfort fans, and making a really comfortable boot up to our standard proved to take a little bit longer than we had anticipated. So that's why those recently expanded.
One last follow-up question to you. What's your ROAS, return on ad spend factor? If you're spending,
say that one more time.
What's your ROAS, return on ad spend factor? So if you're spending $100 on Facebook or $100 on Google, how much revenue, how much business do you get by spending $100? What's your ROAS factor?
Yeah, so that's actually one thing that in the past couple months we've kind of switched our thinking on. We previously looked at each individual ad and had a specific number that we knew, hey, we always want to hit this in order to be profitable, right? To see the ad as worth it. And recently we've been looking at the entire funnel, knowing that if we are spending money to bring a new customer into our purchase funnel, meaning they've never heard of Harimari before, this is our first introduction to them, we're probably going to continue to spend some more money on advertisement to tell the rest of our story as they get closer to purchasing, right? Which means we might not see the return on that initial ad until later. And so we've been trying to look at everything as more of a full mix, as return on our whole spend, right? As opposed to each individual platform, as opposed to each individual ad. Breaking, we used to break it down by campaign, ad set, ad, and yes, that is all important. And we certainly still look at that. But we're really trying to see how each campaign and each ad tells our full story and brings customers into the mix that then are customers for life, right? And so the return may look really different when we're advertising to a customer who's already purchased with us before and we're just telling them about a new product, compared to the very first time that we get to introduce ourselves to a customer. So that return, I don't want to give specific numbers really, because that's part of our own strategy. But what I'm really excited about is looking at it in a holistic manner, understanding that we probably will see slightly less return up front by introducing ourselves to new customers, but are also have a much higher standard for the return that we want to see on retargeting advertisement. Again, telling that new product story to existing customers, to really just keep that relationship long term.
Excellent, wonderful. Thank you so much. That's a good advice, Meredith. Over the last 45 days, guys, I have spoken to almost 100 plus e-commerce founders, and the average that they get by spending on Google, Facebook, Instagram ads is about 2x or 3x. If they're spending $100, they're able to get revenue. The revenue was $200, $300. That's it. Everybody is trying to make this X factor more. Jenifer, next question is to you. There are customers, there are clients, there are fans. Customers come and go, clients stay with a little longer, fans love you. How do you make your customers your fans?
Well, that's interesting. You know, how do we make our customers fans? I mean, a lot of people that buy it have seen a need for this for so long. So they do, once we can get them to fit properly, then they love it. Everybody loves it. If it doesn't fit them properly, because we only have one cup style right now, they get very mad, like very, very angry that the system will not work for them. And they want their size, like that we're gonna launch a plus size range too to fit more people. But everybody, not to like brag, but like people really do want the product. If we can just get them to fit it, then they do become fans because it makes sense. It's just like, it really makes sense for people. So they're wanting it really bad. But so if it doesn't fit, there's nothing we can really do, unfortunately. But as we grow and get more stuff, more styles, I can point people like, okay, try this one instead. It might fit for your body style. So yeah.
Having a great product is like hygiene. It's like basic. You have to have it. Apart from having a great product which would please your customers, what I learned in the last 45 days from you guys, people like there are people in New York who would send a handwritten postcard along with the article that if you're buying a pair of shoes, you might like these socks as well. Why don't you try this? And yesterday we had a very fabulous guy. He was giving us all numbers. He was selling socks, and he told us that socks is the world's #1 gifted item. Socks is being searched more than Jesus Christ in the US. So very, very people come up with all these fancy data points. So excellent. Thank you so much. So David, over to you. So what's what you do also Shopify, right?
Yeah.
So what's your traffic or customer base on Shopify?
I have literally no idea.
No idea.
I think it's, I'm really the worst person to ask, because you'll be asking me what are the numbers. I have no clue. And you know, my finance person, when I speak, I know she like dies inside, because I just go, I have a different way of thinking about stuff, because we make jeans for Rennie Verzetti, world's best chef, but he only caters for 45 people. Now, if I was a finance person, I'm going, hey, Rennie, can't you do 50? And you go, but he probably can't. And so my way of thinking is, he has a waiting list of 2,500 people. And so he's got that through reputation. He's got that because he's influential. My question to the team is, how do we grow influence? Because I don't know that really, it will appear on a spreadsheet, but later. So I'm just like going, how do we bring innovation to something? How do we take microplastics out of jeans? How do we do really hard things that no one's currently doing? And how quickly can we do some of them? And so I sort of encourage my team, rightly or wrongly, is going, I'm just not that into numbers. And yeah, sure, I like to pay our bills and make sure we don't run out of money. But I just know if we really truly want to be an amazing company, if we only focus on that, we're going to
Innovation.
become like everyone else. So I'm going, how do I get a wait list for 2,500 people? And we have had that previously. We've had a year waiting list. And that only comes through influence. So I'm going, and we had a meeting yesterday, so that's why it's fresh in my head. And I'm just going like, okay, what do we have to do to be influential? And I find that a much more interesting question than chasing a metric that you will not, trust me, you will not go to bed tonight and think about how you can grow your company 20% more. You might go to bed metric, you know, this governed by metrics that actually really don't matter. You should really concentrate on metrics that do. Because if you truly want a growing business, then, you know, like go get a patent. You know, ultimately, you're not going to have a problem growing your business. You're doing something that no one else can do. That's amazing. Like your path is set because you've had an idea. You've done an amazing hard thing.
How many patents?
That's the metric. I mean, like, so when you ask me about metrics, I'm going to literally put it on the record. I don't give a shit. Because I think it's the wrong thing to be thinking about. You just go, how do you go and grow influence? I love Patagonia. The reason I love them is not because of a metric, it's because they've done things which I look at and I just go, oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah, we had people.
That's the metric.
6 months for our.
Okay.
Yeah, we were out of stock, but they waited 6 months.
Wait, of course
We'll
they'll
wait forever.
Yeah.
I mean, not to be. They just because they wanted it.
Yeah, we had a point where, you know, we had a lot of publicity because somebody wore our jeans. You know, really super grateful. Thank you, universe. A year wait. And you go, wow, okay. I mean, it's a long time, right? But I mean, when we chase influence, and when we chase patents, when we chase creativity, and when we do all that stuff, we become alive as a human being and a creative entrepreneur. Yeah. And let all those others go, oh, I have 2x my business. I don't give a shit. I literally don't give a shit. Maybe because I'm in West Wales and I literally don't care. But I just think, and you just go, it's like you're going to run a much more interesting business when you stop thinking like everyone else.
Yeah.
Well, and you even said it earlier because you said someone can come rip you off and they may be able to sell more of that product, right? They may, we have literally seen stores that we've partnered with in the past sell our product with their label on it, right? And sure, they may be able to sell more of it or make it faster, whatever it is, but they don't have the next idea. They don't have that relationship. They're not, like you said, that living, breathing brand that people trust and want a relationship with and have loyalty to. If the goal was really just to sell, we'd make a cheaper product. We wouldn't put as much time into it. It wouldn't be as comfortable. It would give you blisters, all of that. But that's not the goal. The goal, you know, that's where honesty is a huge part of all of it, is being honest and true to you as an entrepreneur, as well as to you and your brand, so that it's a genuine relationship that then people are excited to share about. You know, everyone has their short list of brands that they can talk about at dinner parties, which is bizarre. The fact that we talk about brands at dinner parties, right?
Yeah.
But when you have that true relationship with the customer, it becomes more of a friend, and they're the ones with the influence, right? They're the ones who can then share you and what you're doing, and you can also learn from and listen to, and it's that two-way street, so that they can help you understand what they want from you, and as long as you know what you are and are not willing to do, then you guys can grow together.
Completely.
Excellent, wonderful. That's a great piece of advice, guys. So David and both Meredith and even Jenifer, they have been innovating. I think instead of running after money or matrices, what our panelists are saying, that run after innovation, run after improving your business, your products. How can you be obsessive about adding value to your customers? How can you keep improving yourself and keep improving your team, your products, to basically being obsessive about adding value to what you're doing? being a go-getter, being hungry for achievement in terms of being better than what you were yesterday, comparing yourself with you, and those are some of the learning that we got from our panelists today. Uh, Meredith, I want to ask you one thing. If people want to venture into e-commerce right now, because people have a lot of ideas and they don't want to do it offline anymore. They want to venture into e-commerce right now. What advice would you give them? What should they focus on?
I would say think about who you really want your customer to be. If you already have your product, you already know who you are. It's who do you want to bring onto your team or into your family? Because ultimately, you're gonna have to spend some money in order to get yourself in front of these people. Not saying it has to be a lot, but you will have to spend something to get your message out there. You really want to make sure it's to the right people, because there may be some cheaper people you can reach. You may be able to get your message out there faster to a certain audience, but they might not be the people that will stay with you for the long haul. So I would spend extra time really thinking through, okay, we know who we are. Now, who else do we want to come on board? Because your customers are the ones telling your story. That, like I mentioned, they're the ones that are spreading the word. They are enhancing your brand and building that community. So who do you want your friends to be? Who do you want sitting at your table, wearing your product, talking about your product, sharing your product, gifting your product? Because you are then associated with them as well.
Excellent, wonderful. Target, Meredith is saying that target your customer properly. You should be sharing your vision with people who you want to be your customer. They should be spreading your word. So who should those people be? Target them well, target them properly. Jenifer, you're doing business with your sister. How is that? Would you advise working with your sister?
We work really well together because we have different personalities and skills. So we really feed off of each other like really well. So it does work out. I worked with my brother one time and I was crying every day, like did not work at all. So it just depends on the sibling, but it works really well with us. I can trust, it's like easy because we trust each other 100%. We know our work ethics. We know we both put, that's the good thing. Bringing on partners is really difficult. Like we don't want anybody else. We just don't want to bring on anybody else. We hire, obviously we contract work to people, but bringing on partners for us is just like not worth it. Because it's just, it has to be somebody very specific or special. Because it just, once again, it's like.
Who is elder?
Fun. What's that?
Who is elder?
Elda? Oh, elder, sorry. I am by 4 years. Yeah.
So do you bully her?
I talk over her. She never gets a chance. She never gets a chance.
So I should ask this question to your sister.
I don't. So no, but she's very creative and artsy and like very stylish, and I'm more like practical engineering, trying to add every useful element in the bra, making it like, I'm not fun, you know, I'm just more like technical, making it useful. It's not very good marketing, you know, but we both have fun designing and like adding elements, like little subtle things that make people's lives easier, like a loop here, or like just little things that like, wow, that's cool. Like designing our own little hook that doesn't slide, or just stuff like that I really like to do. And then we just work really, really well together. We feed off of each other.
Brilliant.
So it works out.
Wonderful, wonderful. Guys, in this last session, if you have any questions from one another, please go ahead and shoot. If let's say Meredith want to ask Jenny, or David want to ask Jenny, please go ahead and shoot.
I think going back to that funding thing is very interesting because we've struggled with that. But I think some people can't do it from scratch on their own either. So they have to do that. And that's, and not everyone can work for like 5 years and not pay themselves or something. It just has to be a specific scenario too. So it happened to work out for us, but because we had stores that were funding, like we took revenue. So like that, it's just, you need money from somewhere, but like, and a lot of the people that also another side comment is like, because we kept comparing ourselves to like other bra startups, Then we kept seeing that they were getting like 20 million,
Yeah.
but they're not
Don't compare.
profitable. I've talked to some insider people that were providing their goods, and they're like, they're not even making money. And then you see that they're just dumping money to boost the sales quickly. Not a solid business. So like, don't compare yourself, because like, that's not what we want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
It's not a race. I mean, it's
Right.
like it's just like when they've got all the fancy chairs and the fancy offices, and you go, oh, you know, wouldn't it be nice to have this? You go, yeah, but you've got something much more valuable, and that's your independence.
Yeah.
And you suddenly go, oh, I got an air-on chair. I don't give a shit. Like, and you go, oh, I got this funding, and yeah, I don't give a shit.
Right.
Oh, good for you. I can see the stress in your eyes. I don't want it. And but you've got something, and you can give it time, you can give it patience, and you've got a patent, and you go, you just gotta like enjoy that ride. And you go, and it'll be ebbs and flows, and there'll be good days and bad days, and good months and bad months. And you go, but it's your ride.
Interesting. Wonderful. You want to say something, Meredith?
Sure, yeah. My question, and I think both of you guys have answered it throughout this chat, but would love just to kind of hear your concise answer, would be, what do you two look for daily for your success metric? I know we've talked about if it's not the numbers, if it's not, you know, obsessing over daily sales or daily signups or whatever that is, what do you generally look at a day's end and think, okay, did we do that today?
If you want to start.
I mean, the thing that I'm interested in, and I've actually got it written on the outside of the building, is how can we be how can we be lower impact today than we were yesterday? But that actually alludes to a bigger question, is like sort of if you fall in love with the small little bits that you can do today to get you a little bit better than you were yesterday. So if you can, being in love with the incremental small change, I'm happy with that, because everybody goes and looks for the big shot and going, I want to knock this ball out of the park. You go, oh, well done. How many times do you do it? Not very often, but I kept swinging at it, and I'm going, but a small change, a small improvement every day is pretty interesting. And we do a yearbook, which doesn't actually make any sense. And it's not even out every year. And people love it. And they pay you a lot of money for this yearbook, which is essentially an amazing, sort of stream of interesting thoughts. But this one is all about, the 1% in terms of the 1% better. Can we get 1% better today than we were yesterday? And then if you can do that over a bunch of time, that makes you pretty interesting.
I just like obsess over customer feedback and like the product, if they like it or not. Or I'm just like super like people pleaser sometimes to my detriment. Like I can't read one negative comment or something. Like I just want to make it perfect that they like, I don't see any negative comments, and just make the product like perfect, basically as perfect as it can get. Yeah.
And the fact that you care is your secret superpower. When those bad comments come, it kills you, literally in your tummy. And it's like, and it stays with you for days. Yeah, that's because you care. And then you go, how do you stop doing that? You go, well, stop caring. Really tricky.
Interesting. So last round, what we learned from David is that the power of good habits. How can you do take small steps every day and keep improving yourself instead of looking for gigantic leaps every day, running after money and customers? How do you improve yourself every day? Let's say if you started gymming, and if you're doing 2 push-ups today, how can you do 3 push-ups tomorrow, 4 day after? Like doing it consistently, small steps consistently will give you a lot more satisfaction personally, will improve you. If you, for example, what I tell my team is, guys, learn one new thing every week. Just one new thing every week. If you learn one new thing every week, you will learn about 25 new things in 6 months. And 25 new things can change your life. If you learn, let's say, 2 things in a week, you will learn 50 new things in 6 months, and that will change you as a person. So doing small things consistently is what's going to help. That's what David is saying. Jenny is extremely, I would use the word maybe finicky about feedback and keeping her customers happy. Jenny, they said that it's impossible to please everybody, whether it's Martin Luther King or whether it was Nelson Mandela. It's impossible to please everybody. Even these people were not able to please everybody. Even your President Trump is not able to keep anybody happy. Forget about everybody. So the recipe of success. So they say, I do not know the recipe of success. The recipe of failure is when you're trying to please everybody. So as an entrepreneur, our job is not to please everybody. Our job is to do the right thing. You are innovating, you are thinking about your customers, keeping the right thing, and good feedback will automatically come. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you very much. We learned a lot from you. All of you, such fantastic people. You're such givers. Do not hesitate before giving your secrets away, telling us about your learnings, your mistakes, what your experiences, your guidance. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. We actually did not introduce myself and my company because I was so engrossed introducing you guys. We have a company called Enalito, and we have a Shopify Magento plugin which has 5 stars on Shopify other platforms. We solve a lot of problems for e-commerce companies like yourself. We help them improve their return on ad spend. We help them. We tell you guys which customers you're about to lose. We tell you these are the customers who never want to come to you, and how to stop them from getting lost. We do a lot of segmentation. We can tell you these customers are your potential loyal customers. These customers are your loyal customers. These are your VIP customers, and these products. So we also do a lot of segmentation of products. These products are the products which are your high margin products. Now, these products are the ones which you should retire from your store. You should not even keep on your store. Do a lot of email marketing, personalization, a lot of analytics. We give you a business health score. So we analyze the 100+ KPIs, 100+ key performance indicators of a business, and give you a business health score. For example, how is your business doing? We'll give you a 65% score, let's say, based upon your KPIs, and we'll tell you these are the 7 KPIs which you're lagging behind, and you can fix them by doing this. So business health score is something which is, we have about 40 customers in the US who are selling wines, toys, apparel, machine parts, who are able to understand the customer a lot better after using Enalito. And as a token of appreciation, I'm going to give you the plugin of Enalito of Shopify for free for 45 days because you guys were kind enough to come on this panel and share your knowledge. It's our responsibility to give back and to reciprocate. So feel free to use Enalito for 45 days and it will give you a lot of insights about your business, which will open up your eyes. We have filed US patent applications, Indian patent applications on Enalito, and we also believe in adding value. Keep on innovating and adding value for our customers. Thank you so much.
Meredith, we need to get a patent.
Yep.
Otherwise, we're going to be left out. Yeah. I have to work on it. Something for next week.
Sure. Thank you.
Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you guys.
Thank you so much, guys. Take care of yourself.
Have a good day.
Guys, have a good one.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.